My name's Rosemary, and Alan, to my left or right, I'm not sure where he is on your screen, is also co-host today. Um, the recording can be found on our YouTube channel and also on our website. I'll put those links in the chat. Next month's seminar will be a presenterless discussion, so kind of a no-host, on how to handle planetarium audience problems. Could be anything from awkward questions, discipline issues, technical difficulties, publicity, and maybe share with us one of the strangest things that's happened to you in the planetarium. So I hope you can come back for that. It will be the same time 4 weeks from today on Friday, June 26th. So we don't have a set end time. We'll pause on the hour and let anybody who wants to say goodbye do so. Um, but if the seminar is still going with discussion, and at that point, we'll continue. So our speaker today is Jay Lamm. He's the Director of Planetarium and Facilities at the Irene W. Pennington Planetarium and the ExxonMobil Space Theater at the Louisiana Art and Art and Science Museum. Okay, welcome, Jay.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so this is going to be about, I don't know, 4, maybe 5 hour long presentation here. I've got 3,000 slides to go through. Bear with me.
That's fine. We'll record it.
No, it's not going to be that long, so don't worry. But this presentation will be about how to open up the universe to everyone, how to make your facility, your venue, more sensory sensitive friendly. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here.
While you do that, I just want to add one more thing.
Sure.
Um, we have a lot of faces, or maybe not faces, but names I don't recognize quite so much. We do try to get people to check in by putting their name and where they're from in the chat so that we all get familiar with people. So if you would do that, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, there we go. Move some stuff around on my screen here. All right, so I guess everyone can see that, right? All good. Great. All right, let's go ahead and begin. So, what is a sensory sensitive facility? Well, a sensory sensitive facility is a place that has been designed to accommodate those with sensory processing challenges. And these locations help to minimize overwhelming stimuli to prevent sensory overload and to promote calmness. So these would be places that have soft lighting, sound absorbing material, weighted seatings like weighted blankets, also some low stimulus retreat rooms, etc. Now, these places also might offer tools like fidget spinners and sensory maps and communication cards. I'll go over all those in a little while. Now, you'll usually find that places like this, you'll find these in places like movie theaters. I know that AMC theaters in Louisiana has begun to uh, adopt these practices. Also, dentist offices. I know the dentist offices can be quite an anxious place to visit. Also, certainly museums and planetariums are places that are fine places to have sensory sensitive facilities. Also, there are places like Walmart. I know that they have begun to have sensory sensitive hours where their lights are dimmed, their hand radios are turned off, and their scrollable screens are in a locked position so that there's no or very limited flicker. Now, it's also should be noted that this isn't just for people with autism and ADHD, but we're also including people who are recovering from strokes, people suffering from dementia and Parkinson's, and people who have migraines easily, and those with anxiety disorders, as well as PTSD. So it covers a wide range of people, and not just the autism and autism spectrum, as many people often believe. So I'm not going to go over just all these notes on the screen here. So aside from the notes that you see in this presentation here, um, and everyone can see the presentation, the PowerPoint screen. Good. All right, good. So aside from all the notes that you see on the screen here, a facility such as a museum, why should they incorporate this type of movement? Well, a sensory sensitive environment uh, is because it truly encourages families and individuals to stay longer in your facility as well as to move about and feel more welcome whenever they are there. Now, this is particularly beneficial whenever you have areas of your facility that are geared more towards kids, because these areas can be quite loud and quite crowded at times. Also, there are museums such as my own, where the kids areas and the museum areas are very close together, and the people who are in the museum section want to have a more of a lower volume level, people who want that type of experience. So if you allow those who have neurodivergent needs to remain calm and focused, it will help to regulate their levels, and also will give them more time to more meaningfully engage with exhibits and programming. Now, planetariums can also benefit from this because planetariums are very high stimulus environments. They have surround sound speakers, they have immersive visuals, so offering headphones to lower volume and also strobe reducing glasses, it may help them to enjoy the experience of the planetarium much better. So how do we go from this idea to implementing the idea? First, I believe we have Colleen here, the LASM board there. Well, Colleen, who is here right now, as well as Emily Davenport at LASM, were very instrumental in spearheading this whole program. And what they found was they have two groups that they used to help sort of create this at our museum. First was Culture City, and the second one was the McMains Children's Development Center. So I'll go over both of these in a bit more detail. Culture City is basically a nonprofit organization that focuses on helping make public spaces more accessible to those who have neurodivergent needs. Now, their work focuses on sensory inclusion, and they're best known for their sensory inclusion certification program. Now, McMains, on the other hand, they specialize more in direct development and therapeutic and rehabilitative services for children with conditions such as autism, ADD, and sensory processing disorders. Now, we'll go over both of these because Culture City is a nationwide thing. McMains is more of a local place. So I would encourage you to partner with your own local development and therapy centers to help you on your quest to make your facility more sensory inclusive. Examples for these would be the Easter Seals of Central Illinois, the Autism Center at the Manning Family Children's. So every state and every local area is going to have their own therapeutic and development center. So Culture City, as I had just mentioned, they have partnered with thousands of venues and events, and their work centers mainly around sensory inclusion, which means they help venues adapt environments so that visitors with sensory needs can participate more comfortably in public experiences. Now, they offer training, signage, promo material, social media help, tools, promo material such as like ways to promote your events in your certain sensory inclusion type of day. They also are a great source for people to go to find venues that will suit their unique needs. So, for example, you can go to their app, you can look at places in your area that will cater to your sensory specific needs, and they can point out little places that participate in this training and who have adopted their facilities to suit such needs. And they'll sort of list on the app of the type of materials they have to sort of help you out. At McMains Children's Development Center, this Culture City and McMains are connected in how they both share a vision of supporting children and adults with sensory processing needs. Now, they serve somewhat different roles. Now, McMains in Louisiana here, they specialize more in direct development, therapeutic, and rehabilitative services for children with conditions such as autism, ADHD, sensory processing disorders, etc. Culture City, on the other hand, is more about the training and the certifying venues to become more sensory inclusive. So we used both of these in two different ways to help us to arrive to where we are at today. So you can see here on your screen, this is an example of what you will get from Culture City. There's the signage, which helps people direct them to where they would want to be. And that this is a particularly a sensitive, inclusive location, where the quiet areas are at, that headphones are available. This is a bag that you can see over here. And in this bag, there are a number of items, such as you'll see this little card over here. And this is for people who have a bit of a problem communicating. They can point to little icons on this card of what they're looking for. If they're looking for a bathroom, if they're looking for a quiet area, that can they can point to it, and then you can direct them to where it's at. Those are the headphones that will lower the volume. They have some fidget spinners and some fidget toys, and those are the strobe canceling glasses. Of course, you can fill this bag with other items that you might need. There are these items on Amazon.com, for example. And let's talk a little bit about the planetarium and what I did to sort of comply and sort of cater the planetarium environment to suit these sensory sensitive needs. So we used McMains to walk through the building and the facility with us to sort of map out where we were going to put the quiet areas, where we were going to designate our quiet areas. One of them would be the auditorium. We have an auditorium here, which is separate from the rest of the planetarium, the atrium. It's a sort of bricked in area, and we use that to be a quiet area. We have two quiet areas. Our facility is large enough that we would need two quiet areas, and the other one was on the opposite end of the building. I will go through a little bit later on what we did as far as light levels and the subtitles and the sound levels, but this is one of the things that McMains was able to contribute to us. A walk through the building, determining where our quiet areas would be, and kind of help us out configure our planetarium to suit those sensory needs. So we're one of a few facilities in Baton Rouge right now that have been certified by Culture City. Um, they have helped us out with this, both McMains and Culture City. If you go to the map on the Culture City app, you will find that there are places like the Baton Rouge Zoo, as well as a few other areas that are certified by Culture City. So it's a great thing because if you are a parent or uh, with someone who is interested in going to a place that has these types of tools and bags and that can help them out enjoy a day out somewhere, they can easily go to there and find that we are one of the participating areas that can help you on your trip to the museum. So, what are the first steps of getting involved with this particular Culture City? And I don't work with Culture City. I'm just saying that this is what we did to kind of get involved with this program here. So we contacted Culture City to set up an invoice and a contract. We have a 3-year contract with them. Now, the initial cost was $750. Now this gets you staff training, and in order to be certified, they require you to have at least 50% of your staff trained. Now we were able to reach 93%, pretty good. Now, once 50% of the staff is trained, they will send you all the items that I've been talking about. Your signage, your sensory bags, your fidget spinners, your headphones, the soft mats, the weighted blankets, things like that. And we put that at our front desk for people to request. We have signage that these things are available to them. We also provide them, Culture City, that is, we provide them with pictures of our progress of what we've done and how we've been implementing this. And then they add that to their website so that people who go and visit them can see us, see what we have, and see what they can get whenever they come here. They also provide us with press releases, which again helps us to promote this day that we have. We have something called a sensory sensitive second Sunday. So they will help us promote that day. And Culture City also has their own app to find areas in town as well as close by towns and cities that also participate in their training. So, preparing our planetarium, what did we do to make the planetarium sensory sensitive inclusive? Again, we have something called a sensory sensitive second Sunday. This is where we make a point to advertise and to announce to everyone that this particular day here that we are really kind of gearing our facility and our programs to be catering to those who have sensory sensitive needs. We have certain shows like Cosmic Colors and From the Earth to the Universe to have subtitles, brighter lights, lower volume. We keep the doors open. So that's one of the things that McMain's told us is that um, typically whenever you have a planetarium show, you want to keep your doors closed to keep it as dark as possible. Well, for these days, we actually keep the doors open and we actually bring the lights up. I'll tell you how much we bring the lights up and what color that we use. But also we have closed captioning. Now we have a number of shows that we have closed captioning for. I'll get into how I have made those, but right now we offer Into America's Wild, Cosmic Colors, Audio Universe, From the Earth of the Universe, and we recently got Mysteries of Your Brain. And Mysteries of Your Brain actually came with a .srt file, and you can use that to run your subtitles. So, my volume level. I typically keep the volume in the planetarium, the large format films, the sky shows, at a peak of about 70 to 75 dB. I have a little volume meter on my phone. It's center weighted. Conversational volume is usually around 60 to 65 dB. I keep the shows at around 70 to 75. Now, whenever we run rock shows and music shows, I'll go up to about 90 dB. In fact, we had a live band here last night, and I had them kind of cap it around 90 to 95 dB. For these sensory sensitive shows, though, I dropped the volume down to about 50 dB. And this is what we worked out with McMains. We kind of kept bringing it down until we kind of came to a level that everyone could agree upon. Now, light level, we have cove lights. We have LED cove lights around the entire dome. We can change the colors to whatever we want in different patterns. They loved the fact that we could make everything blue. So we keep a blue light around the entire dome at 50%. So it seems like it's pretty bright, but it doesn't wash out the shows at all. You can still see everything pretty well. And actually, people have comment on it, how much they like it. Uh, Now, before they go into the shows, of course, we tell everyone what's going on. No one's going to be surprised that there's subtitles and the volume is lower. So we do have a person outside the theater. And as they walk in, they say, by the way, this is our sensory sensitive second Sunday. You can expect that the volume is going to be a little bit lower. The lights are going to be kept on, but dim, and the doors are going to be kept open. And they're always okay with that. Also, in addition, we have these star stress relief toys for certain. We've found that sometimes autistic kids are afraid to go into the theater. And one of the things I found to be very useful is having this bag of these plush squeezable stars. And the story that I kind of developed for our ticket takers and our planetarium guides is that the star we have some stars that fell from the sky. And we asked the kid, do you want to have this star so that he can go into the planetarium and see the rest of his friends? Because he fell from the sky. He wants to see his friends again. So could you please help him go in there and see his friends again? Could you please protect this star? And now they feel that they have a mission, that they have a goal, and it helps them out quite a bit. And we've given out quite a number of these little yellow stars. I need to order some more, as a matter of fact. So that's a very effective thing to do for people that are afraid to go into the theater. I would suggest that. Again, you can buy these in bulk on Amazon. And this is how we prepared the rest of the facility outside of the planetarium. We have quiet areas that have been designated. Um, we have two areas, like I mentioned before, that have been designated quiet areas. We have these little pea pods. We need to get another pea pod because one of them has popped. But we also have soft mats and fidget toys and headphones and weighted pads. And one is on the opposite side of the building with our workshop that we have some birthday parties usually in. On this particular sensory sensitive second Sunday, we had that cordoned off for a quiet area. And like I said, our auditorium as well. Our art areas have also been adapted for those with neurodivergent needs. We have oversized crayons. We have these paintbrush adapters. We have these larger pencil grips. We have these easier, larger paint grips as well. And the front desk has the signage saying that what they can get. We have the sensory sensitive bags that are available at all times, regardless of the sensory sensitive second Sunday. Any day of the week that they're here, they can get these bags. Um, uh, in fact, we typically use them quite a bit during field trips when school groups come through. So we've been handing those out almost a few times a week. And I've mentioned what those bags are all contained inside the bags. So I mentioned subtitles for the shows, and I know that planetariums all have different software and different ways of making things possible and putting things on the dome. I do know that there are some recent upgrades and new software that can natively play .srt files, which are the subtitle files. It's the most common subtitle files. I know that you can play an MP4 file or MKV file or whatever it is that you usually do to put the material on the dome and then just select the subtitle file, which is the SRT file, and it will sync up with the video. Currently, I don't have that ability. So I'm still like I use Digital Sky 2 or DS2 right now. Whenever we get upgrades, we'll probably go to Dark Matter, which I know can play SRT files. But as of right now, I have to, if I'm able to get the SRT file, the subtitle file from the distributor, it makes things a lot easier. If not, I have to make the subtitle file myself. So this is how I do it. I'm sure there will be a great discussion amongst many people on how they do things. This is just how I do things. So what I do is I go into Adobe Premiere Pro, and Adobe Premiere Pro has this new AI feature, which is very, very helpful. It can generate a subtitle file for you. And I found that it works a lot better if you take the center channel of your 5.1 mix, put the center channel in there as your audio, and then it'll just look at that center channel, it should just be the voiceover. And then you can go to your subtitle, your text and your generative text, and it will then generate a subtitle file for you. Now, it's not going to be perfect, but it will do most of the heavy lifting for you. You'll have to go through there and you'll have to correct the grammar and the spelling of some words, if there's anagrams or whatever. You'll have to correct some punctuation, but most of the heavy lifting is going to be done for you. Because in the past, I know we used to have this show called Sea Monsters, and we had the school for the deaf come through, and the sign language instructors didn't want to sign all of the dinosaur names, the long dinosaur names. It would take too long, so they asked us if we could do a subtitle file. So I had to listen to every single line and type it all up. Now, Adobe Premiere Pro can do it with AI. You just have to do a couple of little corrections here and there. Not a big deal, though. But then once I have all the subtitle files generated, it's going to put them kind of at the bottom of the screen. So I have my project set up for 4K. I have a 4K theater here. I then make sure that everything on the subtitle channel is moved to the very center of the file. So I just reset everything so that all the text is centered right in the middle of the actual viewfinder there, that little 4K 4096 by 4096 square. I then turn off all of the video channels except for the text so that everything is transparent. So you have your subtitle text in the center with a transparent background. I then export that entire file from beginning to end that aligns with the frame sequence of the original show as a PNG sequence. I then take that PNG sequence and I put it into After Effects with the original file frame sequence for the movie I'm working on. So the original frame sequence of, let's say, National Parks Adventure. Above that, I put the subtitle file, which is then going to be right in the center. I then use what's called the Navigar Full Dome plugin, drag that into my subtitle sequence. That will then warp it for the dome, but then you just move that little text area down to the to where the subtitle should be at the very bottom edge of the horizon of the dome, and then everything from that point will line up. You shouldn't have to do it for the entire thing. It's all the subtitles should be one long PNG sequence. You just have to move that effect in there one time, move it down one time, align it to where you want, move it along your timeline to make sure that the text doesn't clip off the screen at all. And then I just export that as a new frame sequence with the original movie and with the new text subtitles on the screen moved down to the very bottom. Then we'll have to reslice and re-encode it and have two different versions of the show. I have my regular version of the show that I play throughout the week, and then I have my subtitled version of the show that I play on the sensory sensitive second Sunday. So it's a long process. I know. Again, everyone's going to have their own method of doing subtitles, but that's how I have to do over here, mine. So I left this up on the screen here for you, so you can definitely take a look at that and copy my process. But that's how I do subtitle files. And I've made a fair few at this point, and I can do that for all the shows at this point if they wanted to. So how did we roll this out, this sensory sensitive initiative here? How did we roll this out and promote it to the public? Well, the initial rollout was fairly quiet at first. We wanted to see how things went and kind of fine tune things before we actually made major announcements through social media. So I also wanted some time to adjust for what we learned through the process. So to promote the sensory sensitive second Sunday here at our facility here, we found that the best method was to improve attendance by visiting events like the Rare Disease Day. We have a thing called a Rare Disease Day downtown Baton Rouge. And we would visit that and we would visit the vendors in the area and introduce ourselves to them and tell them what we have going on. Also, there are groups that we have that will come out and visit us and be with us the entire day of our sensory sensitive second Sunday. And that will be places like Therapy Dogs of Baton Rouge and Bayou Buddy Therapy Dogs, which you can see in this image right here. In fact, Bayou Buddy Therapy Dogs have been still coming out and visiting us every single time that we do this. And to the point where um, many people look forward to seeing the dogs on that day. Also, we have coordinated our social media to collaborate with such organizations as Autism Society and Be Like Buddy. And we tried getting these announcements into the event of the week notifications. If you have a certain downtown development area, they will usually have event of the week trying to promote restaurants and museums and other types of facilities in the area of what's going on. So you can alert them to your sensory sensitive day of events and try to get on their event of the week notification list. And we also got listed on sites that inform parents and others about our events, like sites like the Autism Society. So partnering with other people who promote autism events is a very great way to get your facility recognized for what you're doing to accommodate those with neurodivergent needs. So what is the outcome of all of this? Well, we did a little bit of digging and some research here on improvements. And over the 7-month rollout that we did for our sensory sensitive second Sunday, we found that there has been an increase in planetarium and museum attendance by 15%. Now, we also have a slightly higher numbers with the inclusion of partners such as Capital Area Autism Network, Families Helping Families of Greater Baton Rouge, Autism Society of Greater Baton Rouge. And we've also been getting some notes that people who have been coming to see the Bayou Buddy dogs each month have been coming every single month to see those dogs. The kids really like the dogs. It's kind of the point now where the dogs have begun to recognize the kids that have been coming to see them. And they've been able to recognize them whenever they show up. So also, even people who don't usually have sensory needs have expressed how much they like the lower volume in the planetarium as well as the subtitled shows. So the future plans, do we anticipate continuing this? Well, of course we do. We do try to garner more sponsorships and more partnerships with other organizations. And we're trying to get some partnerships and some sponsorships for our Sensory Sundays, as well as our first free Sundays. Now, a lot of families with the children with sensory needs don't necessarily have the resources to pay the regular admission. So our free first Sundays are great for them as well. Let's see here. So in conclusion, implementing a sensory sensitive day into your facility repertoire is a very low risk, high reward. You're opening your doors to a wider variety of people that would usually not come to visit your facilities. And what we did was we looked at our attendance. We tried to find the off hours of what days of the month are we having lower attendance. And that's why we decided on these second Sundays there. We took a look at the attendance and decided that we are going to try to boost the attendance for that particular day of the month. And of course, these types of initiatives, these align with planetariums and museum mission statements, as well as helps you qualify for grants and sponsorships as well. Now, if you don't want to partner with or pay the price of being associated with and trained and certified by Culture City, there are definitely other ways that you can go about doing this. I know that for us, let's see if I can get rid of this screen here. Let's see, y'all. Go. So I know that for us, we've been using Culture City now for a couple of years. And I was looking at Amazon.com, and there are little kits you can get on Amazon.com that have the same type of materials. One I found on there was about $200, so it's not incredibly cheap, but it beats the $700 price. But one of the things that you get with Culture City is that you get to be on their app and their website and promoted by them. But it's just another option that you would have if you wanted to do this. You can certainly create your own bags, create your own signage, create your own event, create your own kit, and do this on your own. So that's how we did it, though, and I look forward to hearing from other people and what they've done, their success stories, as well as any ideas to make people more comfortable, as well as other options on how to make subtitles for shows. So thank you for listening, and I'll turn it over to discussion if you'd like.
Okay, thank you, Jay. Anybody can raise their hand, jump in, or put something in the chat.
I will jump in. I have a question, um, but I also want to say that the reason why we have Jay as a speaker is because of an article that he wrote in the Planetarian um, September issue. And I'm going to put the information on that article in case you want to look at it. I mean, th and this presentation, Jay, which is I really enjoyed it. It's a great presentation. And it's kind of a good example of one of the reasons why we sometimes contact authors of articles in the planetarium, because it's so much more vibrant to hear the article or a version of it than it is to just read it. But I'm putting that in the chat right now. There's a link to the article. So I had a couple questions, but I'll just ask one right now. When you hand out the stars, the little foam stars, and you say that they came from the sky, do you have any disclaimer or any discussion about that they're not shooting stars, or the fact that the problem with a misunderstanding about what shooting stars are or meteors?
From my experience, the kids that are afraid to go into the planetarium are far too young to really know what shooting stars are. They haven't really asked about that. We just tell them it's a fallen star. It's a star that fell out of the sky. They don't have to say that story, but we've just kind of found that it's a way to kind of make them uh, a bit more connected with something, and they feel like there's a sense of guardianship with the item that they have in their hand, and that they can help someone or help something that is also afraid or um, that needs help too. And it gives them a sense of power, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm.
I think to make young children comfortable in the planetarium, it's worthwhile. Yeah.
I'll jump in with one question. It may be for some of the other people here today, but I'm wondering what's effective with smaller domes or maybe portable domes. It's a much tighter environment and might be a little scarier.
Yeah, so like I was saying kind of before, I think that would be a good opportunity to partner up with your local childhood development center and have them walk through your facility and look at the size of your venue and your planetarium and see what they suggest. It was one of the things that McMains was instrumental with helping us out with, was looking at the size of our facility. That was why they determined, your facility is large enough to warrant two quiet areas and having two exits open with light emitting from them so that people don't feel boxed in. That's one of the main reasons why we have our doors open in the planetarium, so people don't feel boxed in. Also, that's a good use of the weighted blankets. Having the weighted blankets sort of help with calming them as they sit down in there.
I think Marco, you have Marco, go ahead.
Yeah, of course, with the mobile planetarium, we definitely cannot have like a quiet area. It's too small for that.
Mm.
We operate with a 5 meter dome. And uh, precisely last week, I had a kid that already came with the headphones from his class, about 8 years old. And I understand this is the reason because the teacher already could see or foresee that it was going to be a noisy environment inside. And sometimes I definitely cannot convince a kid to come into the planetarium. It's rare, but it happens. And I like the idea of the plush star. Maybe add to the story that they have to protect it, uh, be their companion during the show. And if the star comes out happy, satisfied, then he can keep it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So he has to make an effort to do
Yeah, I
that.
tell them all they get to keep all the stars. So if we give them a star for the show, that's theirs to keep. And I mean, I'll personally buy a bag of stars. They're not that much money at all. So $10 for a bag of like 30 stars or something like that. I mean, it's not
That's
bad.
great.
So yeah, they get to keep all the stars if they want. Yeah.
So for the mobile, we cannot do like a separate installation or show just for these people, but rather we should be ready when we have a kit like that. So the headphones, I think that's a good idea because our shows, it's like a movie theater, so it's about 70, 80
Mhm.
decibels most of the time. So this part is a good idea. And then we have the lights. If the kids are small, we play with color lights. I have like it in my phone, a control. So I first play with the lights. So who likes blue, likes red, and I'm trying to reach the red low colors so they get used to the darkness, and then we start the show. Then I turn off the lights, and they don't even realize I turned off the lights.
Yeah.
So kind of have some procedures to do with the kids who may have to get confidence of being inside the dome. Oh, okay. I like the stars. I will search for them in Amazon.
Yeah, I have heard a story from another planetarium. I might have been in Chicago that there's an app you can use on your phone that will generate subtitles for you. Um, I've tried it with limited success. I forgot what it was. I've tried it years ago. I had limited success with it. That's why I ultimately went with generating them myself for like, on the screen, hard coding them in to the actual file itself. But that just kind of popped into my head, that there are other apps you can have on your phone that will generate subtitles for you. Just kind of watch it and do that. So
Your presentation gives me an idea that when we do the quote, the offering the services, that they let us know beforehand if we're going to have somebody needing subtitles or sensory, so I can be more ready for that.
yeah,
But generating subtitles for our mobile dome, we just play back videos. We cannot add warped SRT file, so we have to hard code it.
Yeah. Um, some of the things I've experienced is that whenever we have school groups come through, uh, a lot of the times, they won't tell us, oh, we have kids who might have some sensory issue needs. I th To me, it seems like they are kind of testing the waters. They are kind of hoping that they're going to be okay. And when they get into it, they determine that they're not going to be okay. So they kind of come to us, do you have those, can you get one of those bags real quick? And then we had some bags stored in the planetarium as well as at the front desk. That way our front desk and our planetarium are kind of far apart. So we kind of keep some in our planetarium as well. But there's a lot of times where teachers and guardians kind of think that they're going to be okay, and they don't really come prepared. So if they don't come prepared, we have them covered. So
Great. Thank you.
thank you.
One more question while waiting for other people to get their questions ready. Um, if you're doing a live show, do you have slower movements, say, of the sky, or if you have the capability to fly around planets, do you make sure that you do it at a different speed than you would normally do for an audience?
I actually never thought about that. I always try to keep my movement as slow as possible because in the past, I've always had comments of people being disoriented. And I know that that movement always kind of screws them up. So I always, whether I'm pre-programming the buttons in the shows to do movement, I do have scripts where I have my speed transitions um, mapped out to be not a snail pace, but like very gradual. Either I'm going to be fading stuff up or the movement is going to be as slow as possible. I don't do any quick jumps or quick star reorientation things. That's really going to kind of mess people up. Uh, my dome is a 60-foot dome, so I've kind of found that people easily get disoriented in there. So I've always kind of kept it kind of slow, but that's something I never really thought about. But during our sensory sensitive Second Sunday shows, we typically scale back the Sky Tonight. What I call Sky Tonight is, your bread and butter astronomy show where we talk about the constellations and the planets and all that kind of stuff. And then that goes into the feature presentation. So that's kind of scaled down a bit more. I try to keep my normal Sky Tonight shows around 12 minutes. Those are sort of scaled down to be a little bit shorter. And they just always usually are kind of slow, but it's good that you mentioned that. I can kind of keep that in the back of my head too, to be more cognizant of it.
I have a question. Actually, part of my question was what Rosemary just asked, but we've been doing sensory friendly shows for like maybe 9 months or so, and doing a lot of the things, but there's definitely some new stuff that you talked about, and one of them is making sure we're speaking slower and making sure none of the transitions are crazy. But for like videos, one of the things that we're struggling with is that a lot of videos have like flashing lights in them, and how that could potentially not go well with a sensory friendly audience. So, is there any, like, does anybody know of any rule or guidelines of like this much flashing or this kind of motion in a video requires like a warning, or that's like definitely we shouldn't do in a sensory friendly environment? Because
We do
we
have
kind of are just using our best judgment right now, and I don't know if that's the greatest.
we do have those strobe reducing glasses that come with the
Oh.
bags as well. So to help mitigate that, there are those. I can't really think of any shows that we currently run that have flashing lights in them, but it's a good thing to think about, I think. But um, those strobe reducing glasses though are an option to use.
How do those work?
I don't know.
I mean, I would like a pair because when I go to a movie and they're showing the previews of trailers for movies, I have to shut my eyes because of the flashing, the fast action and flashing that's happening.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It's a good question. I'll have to try them out and report back.
Yeah, have you had any feedback from people that use those at all? Or do people use them? I'm just
You know what? I don't know if anyone has wanted to use them yet. It's been a lot of headphones being used, a fair amount of weighted blankets, but mostly headphones.
It has happened that I have seen not only the kids but also the teachers just closing their eyes in a specific scene if they feel they cannot watch that. But
Yeah.
they just do that. Mm.
We do have a show here that we run. We've been running Mesmerica and Beatifica and Astronomica, like those shows. And there is a statement that they give us to say before the show starts that if if the movement is too fast for you, or if you find yourself overwhelmed by the visuals, just close your eyes and listen to the music. I don't particularly find those shows to be incredibly fast moving, but that language is in there.
we kind of give a general statement about that for like motion sickness for all
Mhm.
of our shows, but
We
I just
had a
want
show
to say
called Space Park 360 that was just it was like a roller coaster ride and like theme park ride stuff. Tell you what, that was an issue.
I want to say thanks, but I gotta go teach a class, so bye.
I wanted to say thanks for that tutorial on how to make a subtitle. That's a really neat technique. Um, and actually, I wondered if anybody else in who's here has anything to contribute by how they make or how subtitles can be made
I'm
or
gonna add,
supposed to be.
I want to add one more thing to that, and that if you're using Adobe Premiere Pro and you use the AI feature to generate a subtitle file, you can export that track as an SRT file. And then if your system is able to play SRT files natively along with your show, you don't have to re-export the entire show and make a second version. You can just export that SRT file and run it along with your existing show. I would suggest just exporting it at the same frame rate. So if your movie is at 30 frames per second versus 24 frames per second, just make sure that your export reflects the same frame rate so that it will align with the voices on the screen.
Jay, by the way, when I do the subtitles in Premiere,
Mhm.
I warp them inside Premiere. I don't go to After Effects. I just do it
Yeah, there's a
there.
way to do that in Premiere, and sometimes I'll do that if I have a time crunch. But that Navigar full dome plugin that I use, I just really like the way that makes it. I like the way it looks, and then there's a customization to it that I'm kind of used to, I think. So yeah, there's definitely some effects you can use in Premiere Pro to warp it at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, I'll always with Adobe and with Photoshop and all of their products, there's multiple ways to achieve the end result you want. So there's always different ways to do things. So if you don't have Navigar Full Dome plugin, you can certainly just do it in Premiere Pro as well. I forgot what the effect is called that I use. Maybe you can tell us what the method is to just use it in Premiere.
Sure. In Premiere, I apply the lens effect, distort. I think it's horizontal decentering, something like that, and corner pin. I
Yeah,
have like just like my own method of knowing how to corner pin it first,
yeah,
like warping here,
yeah.
and then align the curve at the bottom and then at the top because I put the subtitles on opposite sides all the time,
Okay.
logos and
Oh
subtitles,
yeah. All right.
and I do that in Premiere, just that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good way. Cool. Thanks.
I liked the your mentioning of an app to measure the volume.
Mhm.
My hearing's not what it used to be, so it's hard for me to judge at times.
Yeah, there's a lot of just free apps, sound meter apps, and I go to the center of the dome, and I'll just kind of stand there for a while with the phone up. It's not the most accurate, but it's ballpark, you know. And like I said, 70, 75 for the shows.
It's
I
probably
just use
pretty repeatable, even if it's
the
not
watch.
accurate.
Like
Yeah, your
just
watch.
use my watch. Yeah, it just tells me in the dome when I'm in the perimeter or the center. Just do that in the darkness.
Yeah.
So I noticed April found about strobe reducing glasses and put it in the chat. I don't know, for the sake of the recording, April, did you want to uh, say anything about that or report it? To unmute?
Oh, sorry. Like you, I was just interested in how they work, the mechanics of it, and that was on I just, I guess, Googled or whatever it was, searched for strobe reducing glasses, and then there's apparently all kinds of stuff for like sports performance and stuff. You can use them for. I didn't read all that stuff, but how the mechanics of it is, though, are those little controllers that are part of the glasses themselves.
But it detects sudden brightness spikes.
Yeah, apparently. And
Amazing.
then does whatever little shuttering thing it does. And it claims, before your iris can dilate or whatever, or contract, it's already correcting
Hmm.
the light coming in.
I might have to get a pair of those and take them to a movie theater sometime.
Yeah.
Could you say a little bit more about Culture City? Um, is that the name again? Culture
Yes.
City?
Yes, one of those
Um,
things where it's like one word, culture and city are smashed together.
I understood there was a $700 fee, initial fee.
Yeah.
And then I assume that the bags are a certain price per bag
That's
after
included
that.
with it. So once you pay your $700 initial setup fee and you have the staff trained past 50%, they'll send you all that stuff. Now there is a yearly reaccreditation fee as well. So every year they want you to redo the quizzes and the training, and it's an additional $500 for the second year, and then $500 for the third year. And we are on a 3-year contract with them with that. So that's just the price
Yeah.
per year. Yeah, I think I forgot to mention that, but yeah.
How do they decide how many bags you need?
That's a good question. I think Colleen is on here. If Colleen is listening,
Hi, yes, I
there you
am.
go.
Hey Jay, hey everybody.
How are
So
you?
everybody gets 5 bags, and so the institution is has to be 1,000 people or less to fit in, and so the 1,000 people, you get the 5 bags given to you, but you can purchase additional bags for $50 each.
Okay. So you have the choice of doing the second or third year reaccreditation, right? So I'm just thinking for 1 year, $700 gives you the possibility of getting accreditation and then the bags. And then after that, it's optional if you want to continue with that. In other words, you don't have to give the bags back. I'm just kind of on the inexpensive side here.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, you get to keep the bags. Sorry. Yeah, the bags are yours to keep, and the things inside of them are incredibly useful, whether or not you're with Culture City.
Yeah.
Yeah, feel free to chime in if you have any more Culture City related questions.
I do have a local childhood center group coming to see the planetarium in a couple of weeks for a possible visit.
mhm.
So that was a great suggestion too, to have them give me suggestions for that.
Mhm.
Okay, anybody else? I know some of you do have experience. If you want to add anything to this discussion. I will have to say that was very um, complete set of topics. I really appreciate the variety of things you talked about.
Jay, you said that some people who, just ordinary visitors, said they appreciated some of the things that were done, for the sensory friendly aspect. Like having lights on in the planetarium. I think you mentioned that some people actually like that. Um, I'm just wondering if that's something that I guess everybody has different tastes in things. So decisions about what you do with your planetarium theater, I don't know. I wonder if that would affect people's choices of whether they keep lights on or off.
Yeah, having lights as dark as possible is a planetarium go-to. I mean, for me, we use digital stars, and having any lights on in there certainly doesn't help out very much. And my current projectors are reaching end of life, and it gets a little hazy. So um, we only do the lights on at 50% for that one day a month. You know.
And also the subtitles, it occurred to me that that actually is useful for hearing impaired. I mean,
Mm.
we could ha I'm trying to remember if we had a planetarian Zoom seminar on subtitles, closed captioning, but I don't think we did. We might we may need to have one about how to do closed captioning.
Yeah, I don't know if it's IPS, but it might have been SEPA like a long time ago. But I remember having a conversation with several people on how to do subtitles. It was a big topic of um, all the different ways of doing subtitles and closed captioning, and that was why it kind of popped into my head that there are apps on your phones. Also, there's another place in Florida, I think, that came up with their own method of doing subtitles. Everyone has their own way of doing things, and everyone has different systems. I'm kind of look forward to upgrading our software so that we can just run SRT files, and I could certainly just make subtitle files for every single show. And if anyone suggested or wanted to see a show with subtitles, we can just click a button and have them pop up. As of right now, though, it takes a week and a half, 2 weeks to create them, render it again, slice it, encode it, and put everything up on the dome. So luckily here I have my own render farm and slice and encode farm, so I can do it all in house, but it still takes time.
AI.
Yeah, there's some good uses for AI. So yeah. Um, I mean, I'm like I was mentioning before, like we had the School for the Deaf come through and they wanted to see sea monsters, and there was a miscommunication because they wanted me to make the subtitles for it. I did. But then the teachers at the School for the Deaf that came in with the kids had written out every single dinosaur name on these big pieces of cardboard. It's like, no, I've got it all. I've got it all covered. Like you don't have to use any of that stuff. It's all up on the screen. But they had come prepared as well. But it was really interesting and kind of heartwarming to see the kids react at a different time to the dinosaurs yelling because of what they see on the screen and then what's being typed out. There's a little bit of a delay there, but it was just super cool to see everyone really enjoy uh, that type of show that they wouldn't normally be able to enjoy. It's very satisfying.
We did have a Zoom seminar on AI just or a month or two ago, with Jeff Nee was leading it, and I imagine that we're going to have more such things. Actually, um, I know I was looking at the IPS schedule. I can't go to IPS myself, but it's next. It's coming up real. It's in June. And I noticed a couple of sessions that are concerned with AI.
Mm,
Um, should be, I'm going to miss those, but certainly is an up and coming subject.
yeah. I saw one show recently that was obviously using AI as animation. and whatever, it wasn't science animation. It was strictly a music-based show, but still, it's gonna be it's here to stay. So got to figure out a way to use it effectively.
Yeah, and appropriately. I mean,
Yeah.
Mhm.
for science, making diagrams and making animations that illustrate science principles could be really valuable.
Mhm.
I am producing a new program for Costa Rica. It's about national parks and our conservation areas. It's all nature filmed with the 360 camera. And because of the addition that I'm making there, and it's actually real music from a composer from Costa Rica, he allowed me to use his music. I can label it like 100% free of AI. That's going to be the only program. Kind of sells
Mhm.
just because of the topic, of course.
Mhm.
Uh, I just want to make sure that anybody who wants to say goodbye can do so at this point. I just had one other question myself, I think.
I think before people go, we should have a round of applause. Thanks,
Yeah.
Jay, for this is a great, great.
Thank you. Yeah, it's my pleasure.
So I was just curious if people who are hard or hearing impaired or vision impaired, if they gravitate to that Sunday show or if you do something special for those people.
We have had groups come in who have auditory issues. One of the shows that we have right now that is great for people who have those specific needs is a show called Audio Universe.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard of that show before,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a great show and it illustrates celestial movement with sound. And we don't crank up the volume for that show at all, but there are I do have subtitles for it.
But for those Sunday shows, do you find people from the general audience who have some impairments also tending to go to those rather than to a regular show, or they just don't come to a regular show
I haven't
unless they're
really
with a group?
I haven't really heard a lot about people coming specifically for audio issues for that particular day. It's
Okay.
mostly autism, autism spectrum type of people. I can certainly check and see though, but I haven't really heard anything yet about that.
Okay. Thanks.
Mhm.
Really like the part where you were talking about dogs.
Yeah,
Dogs in the planetarium.
no, they're not in the planetarium. We
Oh,
have
okay.
we have an atrium. The atrium is located outside and on the first floor, and that's where they're all located.
Maybe we should have dogs in the planetarium.
Maybe we should, yeah. Mhm.
That's a good idea to get attendance higher on a special day.
Mhm.
Does anybody have any more questions for Jay? If there's no more questions, I mean, I could probably come up with 20 more, but I mean, you covered a lot of my questions and some of the audience questions covered most of the others too. So um, anyway, thank you everybody for being here. If you didn't sign up, please do so. And we'll put these up on our website and the YouTube page. I'll pop that in the chat if you want to hang on just a little bit longer and get that information. That's fine.
Well, thank you all for attending and listening and all your questions. If you have any questions for me, I had my contact info up on the screen for a little while. You can always roll back the footage there, but I'll just put it in the comments actually. If you have any questions, you can feel free to email me right there. It's in the comments, and have a great rest of your week.
Okay, thanks everybody.